Hello, this is Stephen J. Murphy. Welcome to All About You. We are on for another week, the show that's about predictions, astrology, numerology, your birth date. It's all about you. Where do you see yourself in the future? Well, access our show. We've got some great clairvoyants here, as always, who will deliver the best answers for you possible. And you can access that information on our show through our inbox. We'll pop those details up on our screen as we go. All About You, there it is, au@gmail.com. And we're streaming live on YouTube from last week. So welcome to all of our new friends of the family. I'm always with Vivian Summers, my co-host. Hello, Viv. Good to have you with us.
Co-host in crime. It's great to be back with you again this week, Steve. I always look forward to it.
Well, yeah, another special week, and
Yeah, we do. We've got some fabulous
you
guests.
occasionally do readings yourself, my dear friend, but we haven't had any readings as such. I wonder why that is, Viv, because you do the cards,
There might be a time in the very, very, very distant future. That's because we have more professional people on the stage
Oh,
to do that.
don't underestimate yourself. I've seen you do the cards. You're brilliant. Amanda Hall is coming up with us as well. We'll be talking about the series about moons in the signs. When you're born, like the sun is in a particular sun sign for you, the moon is also equally as important because that's in a respective house or a sign. So we'll be talking about the moon in Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces tonight. And also Amanda's going to shed some light on Pluto hooking up with Saturn in Capricorn. Now, that might not be relevant to a lot of other star signs, but if you're a Cancerian, you'll be opposing Capricorn, and if you're what we call in astrology terms squaring a particular house or sign, be it in this case Aries or Librans, it's equally as important to listen up. I'll be fascinated to see what she says when these two monster planets hook up, when it crosses over those respective birth dates, and in this case it's going to be Cancerians and Capricorns. Listen up, you're on the dawn of a roller coaster ride. We'll be waiting to see what she says.
And Steve and I were discussing in the green room earlier this evening how we've both been on the same roller coaster ride for some time, thanks to Pluto. Woo! Yes, it's certainly been one of those roller coaster rides, you know, where the carriage comes off.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So is that happening now?
Oh, yes. Yeah, you know, though, we've never wanted to be in one of those, but yes, hypothetically speaking, we've been on one of those rides. So, Sammy Bunting, welcome back.
Yay!
It's so cool to have you. You have been travelling the globe, young lady, and I want to hear all about that a little bit later.
Yeah, we will.
And beautiful Peter Hall, thank you so much for coming back. It's always just such a joy.
Wonderful to be here. I love coming back.
It's family, isn't it?
It is, it is.
It's absolute.
And it was really funny. I really thought that we'd been on together, Sammy and I, but it's our first time.
So that's not
Very
working
excited.
together.
Another roller coaster to come.
Sammy, you were over in England and you had a white Christmas and you've just
not
come
white.
back.
Ice.
Frosty.
Frost.
-4 degrees, and then you came back to 41 degrees.
So it's pretty mind-blowing. I think Mick probably felt it more than I did, but yeah, it was an experience. But we had a lot of fun, so we did what we wanted to do.
Well, especially since you and I originally met when we both lived on the Sunshine Coast.
That's right.
And so we're very used to a very different kind of Christmas, like super hot and humid.
Yeah, very much so.
Wow.
So it was good. It was good to be in the cold and away from this heat, but like I think everyone's been suffering because it's been 46 degrees is a little bit too hot, like, you know.
Yeah.
Now, you went to Stonehenge.
Stonehenge, Cambridge.
Oh, Cambridge. I thought it was
Cambridge.
Stonehenge, I beg your
Yeah,
pardon.
Stone to get it. And it was funny
Oh,
because
he's
I
not
was
interested
talking.
in Cambridge.
That's
No,
all
I'm
right.
joking.
Well,
He just
yes,
wanted
because we
Stonehenge.
were talking about the pub. You know, so we went
that's
out on
it.
the cam, and it was very interesting that the guy kind of picked up straight away that I was a spiritualist. I wonder why, but that's what happened. And he was telling, I said, ghost stories, and he was telling me, Mick, about the pub that's in Cambridge, and said you must go there. And apparently, it was it's the World War I. You know, all the pilots from the Memphis Belle and things like that. They all went to this pub. Their names are all written on the ceiling in lipstick.
Fabulous.
So it's never been touched. All their photos and everything. And then there was a fire that actually went through the pub, and 2 little boys were actually burnt in that fire. So there is now a special document that has to be signed to say that anyone who takes over that pub or anyone that sort of is landlord, landlady, they have to leave the window open so that the souls and the spirits of the 2 little boys can come in and out of the pub where they were where their bodies are.
Now, is that a tale that's been carried on through, or is it because people have actually experienced
They've actually experienced it. So what they've done is, like, the people that are in there now, they've actually taken out the whole pane, so there's actually no glass in the window at all.
Geez, that would really be cold in
Yeah, it
winter.
would be cold, but it's just like, yeah, it was really cool. It was.
Did you feel your psychic prowess open up when you were there?
It's really eerie because it's so old. You know, like you have the beams and things, and it's also old, and you just duck down, and you know, it's just you can feel it. You definitely can feel it, and more so my uncle Mick and myself, obviously, with the Gothic side of stuff. You know, I think everyone thought that we were kind of turning a little bit religious, but it wasn't happening. You know, as in churchy, but it was the Gothic side of it. Like, we went to St Albans Cathedral, which is absolutely fantastic, and it was quite amazing to see. It took 300 years to build that. To build it, and you could see, like, and I took a photo because on the wall it tells the story about how it was being built and the different people, and they were using astrology. Yeah, I've got the photos. It's really quite amazing about them looking at the stars to say this pillar had to go here, and they would put that pillow there. Wow. But you can actually tell by the different forms of marble that are actually in the cathedral itself. And then there's a hole, like, under the ground. And where the monks went in the war, when the Germans or whatever came to attack, it's just like you can actually see the tunnels down under the ground that go actually into the pub.
Oh,
really?
So,
From the cathedral to the pub.
So once they're done with the prayer,
It's like,
they can go and sow more seeds, and then they can go back and reap what they sow.
It's fascinating, and like also saying before about we were sort of talking about everyone when we're young. The English thing is going to the Tower of London, and sort of 11, 12, you go to the Tower of London and have that outing. It's like basically every school child in England goes to the Tower of London, and to go when you're an adult is totally different. Like I was talking to Steve earlier, I think you see the diamonds and you're seeing the crown, King Henry VIII, and you go through and into the vault. And I mean, I think Mick was more blown away, the vault, like you actually go into the vault and to see the crown jewels. And the door is about this thick steel, it's just unbelievable. It's a really eerie experience because it's so old, and the bed's still there from all those years ago. Like,
really?
Yeah, there's the bed and the fireplaces and the window. Oh, it's
and all
just
the stuff that happened in that bed.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
My goodness.
I don't think.
And after.
Yeah, a little
Peter
bit.
Hall is back with us
Yes.
again this week. Pete, you've got the retreats coming up very soon. Tell us a little bit about those.
I do. And we're doing 2 retreats this year. The first one's going to be in May, and it's a weekend up in the Blue Mountains, up at a Buddhist retreat centre at Karuna. And it's going to be really beautiful. It's connecting to your power animal. It's connecting to your inner child, your higher self, and there's some silence, some beautiful rituals to just connect you back into yourself. You're going to be doing a ritual in a medicine wheel. Really, really good stuff. And we've got a few people already interested in that, so very excited about that. Vivian might even be one of those people who's coming along. And then at the end of August, 26th of August to the 2nd of September, we're going to Bali. So it's the retreat's called Living in Flow, and it's a week at an organic resort outside Ubud, doing some beautiful Balinese rituals. There's Balinese entertainment and bike rides up, down from the volcano through villages. It's going to be a really wonderful week of ritual, meditation, and Balinese culture.
All stress-free, no doubt. It sounds like it is.
It's
a
gonna be
place to be.
beautiful.
Terry V is going to be with us. She'll be doing readings for us. She's on the
She is
Skype.
waiting
Hello,
with us right
Terry.
now on Skype.
Hello.
How are you doing? It's great to see you there, Terry.
Yeah, it's good to be on camera and not just on a voice.
Terry, you're a psychic and a clairvoyant. Can you tell us a little bit, just how long have you been doing clairvoyance now?
Oh, okay, Steve. Well, I was born this way. I was lucky enough to sort of hit the planet this time with everything open. I did start to turn away from it for a long time, and then the spirit just basically, got me by the collar and brought me back. And professionally, I guess I've been reading for about 28, 30 years now. So, yeah, about my mid-20s I started professionally.
And do you find, Terry, that over those years your style of readings changed with maybe lessons you've learned, or, maturity, or that your intuition has grown with time, or your own life experiences? Does that sort of tend to correlate with your readings? what happens in your own life?
Absolutely, Vivian. Yeah, without a doubt. Because we're all growing and changing and, moving with the times. And our times now, we've gone through this massive shift over these last, say, 50 years. And now we're like pioneers into this new age, into our Aquarian age. Well, of course, our readings are going to shift and people's lives shift and their consciousness changes as well. So, it's a moving, it's a continuum, it's moving and shaping and shifting all the time. So, it's something that you do have to continue to work on yourself, your inner self. That never stops. And when you're people like us, well, it's just a part of life. That's how we are.
I agree with you about that, Terry. To me, as Steve was saying earlier, in the past, I did do a lot of readings in combination with my astrology, and not so much now, just because I've got so many other things in my life that I'm focusing on. But it's always there and it's always with me. And the one thing that I've noticed that's changed is with time. Kind of 20 years ago, you would be talking to someone almost, it'd be like one person talking to another. Now it always feels more like two people sharing the experience together because everyone else's consciousness is raised as well. So that is how I've noticed the change in it as well. It seems to be more of a mutual experience.
Yes, to a certain degree, I think, yes. Yeah. It's because people are more open now, so the fear isn't as ripe as it was.
Yeah.
People are still very much in fear in the 60s and 70s and 80s of the type of work that we do, you see, where people now becoming more adapted to it and that it is part of the norm.
Yeah, it's
I think, though, too, it's healthy to be sceptical. There's still a lot of people who are skeptics, and it's healthy to be skeptic.
I agree.
Because it's like in any form of communication. Even if you're signing up for a loan, there's a degree of trust in the person that you're dealing with, and it's in any business, isn't it? So, but we've got a lot of great talent on the show, yourself included. So lovely to have you with us again this week, Terry.
Thanks, guys.
And Sammy and Pete, and we'll be getting to questions very soon. Viv, let's get started.
Before we get started, Steve, can I put you on the spot?
Yep.
Great. Into
Funny
it.
that.
Funny that. I just love that with you, Steve. We've got a little reading for you.
Yeah.
Okay? A numerology reading. Kerry, born on the 4th of the 8th, 1961. I was just wondering if you could pick up some things to answer for Kerry.
Yeah, easy. Kerry, I didn't realise I was going to be doing a reading for you, but pleasure to do it for you. You are quite a business head, and I see that there's going to be a pretty easy flow here for you right up until about the age of 41. Relationships are going to be a focus for you in your late 40s and coming into your 50s. And I don't see any challenges here for you. The only thing that is perhaps something to be guarded against, it's an unusual thing to say to you, is there's a little bit of emptiness here with you. So just try and find the courage to come out into the world and to get involved with people more so. Now, before you hear that, you might be thinking, what sort of group, what sort of community should I get involved with? I see you're going to be involved more with religion. It's an unusual thing to say to you, but it's got a very strong spiritual emphasis with this birth date, August 4, 1961. You're a very sensitive lady, somewhat of a peacemaker. Very strong spiritual you don't like drama at all. With this birth date, August 4, 1961. You're a very sensitive lady, somewhat of a peacemaker. So you don't like drama at all. With this birth date, August 4, 1961. You're a very sensitive lady, somewhat of a peacemaker. So you don't like with this birthday, August 4, 1961, you're very sensitive, Kerry, somewhat of a peacemaker. So you don't like drama with this birthday, August 4, 1961, you're very sensitive, Kerry, somewhat of a peacemaker. So you don't like drama with this birthday, August 4, 1961, you're very sensitive, Kerry, somewhat of a peacemaker. So you don't like drama with this birthday, August 4, 1961, you're very sensitive, Kerry, somewhat
But you know what? Some people have been working in a bank for 30 years and still don't have professional. I know. But you know what? Some people have been working in a bank for 30 years and still don't have professional. I know. But you know what? Some people have been working in a bank for 30 years and still don't have But you know what? Some people have been working in a bank for 30 years and still don't have
Fourth, 1998. Could you please do a reading for me? My question is, do I have anything good happening in my life soon? Is anybody watching 1998? Could you please do a reading for me?
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for sending in your
do I
question.
have anything good happening in
Now, she's saying time out is really, really relevant for you now. So if it's just rest stop, don't do anything. Just time out, you know, just don't jump into things when you're unsure. She's saying she knows you worry about the financial side of things, but that's okay. So I just feel that probably by sort of June, July time, your financial side of things definitely she wants you to sort of go within and find out what all this is trying to teach you. You're very much a giver too, you know, so you give a lot, and then unfortunately sometimes it doesn't come back the way that we want you to sort of go within and find out what all this is trying to teach you. You're very much a giver too, which is good. So you're doing really well. Just hanging there till March. She wants you to sort of definitely go within and find out what all this is trying to teach you. You're very much a giver too, which is good. So you're doing really well. Just hanging there till March. She wants you to sort of when the guy with that, she's saying you won't take me, but you're very much open too, which is good. So you're doing really well. So hanging in there till March. When the guy with that, she's saying you won't take me, but you're very much open too, which is good. So you're doing really well. So hanging in there till March. When the guy with that, she's saying you won't take me, but you're very much open too, which is good. So you're doing really well. So hanging in there till
have a lot more clarity. But just remembering that this year is a year of beginnings for you. Okay, so we're still at the moment, you're still sort of merging into this new energy, so there's still residue from 216 around you, but I do feel that you will get there. I do feel you walking around because I can see you and your hubby. I think all the children will be with you. I've got a little bit of a doubt on one of them for some reason, but I do actually see you in the markets over there. So, you know, I don't think it's going to be for a long time. So it might be a short visit to start with, but then I feel that you will go back. You'll reassess things by after June. So right up until then, you've got the clarity, you've got the visit, you've got things going on, okay? And the family side of things, it looks to me very strongly that you're going to have that support, Cara. So, you know, I think I'd make sure all visas are in, all passports are in check. Okay, because I've also got a little bit of something around paperwork and that sort of thing, and it's always the way. The kids' visas or passports are out of date or whatever. So I really feel that, you know, you need to check that, okay? But I'm wishing you the very best, Cara, and your family. Good luck.
Thank you, Terry, for that great reading too, by the way, and thank you, Cara, for writing in. Our show is all about clairvoyance. It's also about numerology and astrology, with the best on board to answer your questions. Pete, I've got Amy, who's written in for us.
Okay.
She's the 1st of May, 1996. And is this a good year for me to go travelling overseas?
Okay, thanks, Steve. Hello, Amy, and welcome to the show. Now, let's just have a look here. As I'm tuning into your energy, I actually feel that there's something really holding you back on a personal level. I'm just feeling a lot of sticky energy. It feels like there's some restraints around you, something that's actually stopping you from being able to move forward in the direction that you'd like. It feels like I'm also getting a little bit of split energy there, where it feels like you're really, really focused, really wanting to create some change, but it just feels like there's things that you do need to sort out before you can actually move forward and have the break, have the holiday, have the opportunity that you're after. The next couple of months, there's things to sort out. I'm actually seeing that there's like a barrage of like little mini obstacles, things that you need to take care of in order, and it looks like it's going to be around. Well, the next few weeks are going to be pretty busy. March is going to be a pretty full-on month getting things sorted out. And there's a few decisions. There's a deadline that's actually coming around March that you need to get beyond. April feels good for you as a way of actually gaining some clarity where you're going. But I see more rubber on the road for you once we get into May, June. So yes, I do see there's opportunities coming for you in regards to travel, but I do want to say that at the moment, balance is actually, you know, I talk often about balance and taking care of yourself and nurturing, but right now it feels to me, and this is the way I see it, that you actually do need to deal with the here and now without stressing, because I'm looking in my wallet and it feels like there's a lot that I need to sort out, and just not as much money going in as I want there to be. So it's going to be a little bit delayed. There are things to sort out now. I do see the middle of this year, there's free flow for you as you actually move forward. I am getting that you do need to do your homework over the next couple of months in order to be able to address these deadlines. It looks to me like there's some decisions, some obstacles, as I said, that you need to get through. And once you get through, clarity by April and on the road by May, June. All the best. Thank you.
Well, I have to admit something, Peter.
Yeah.
I do know this young lady.
Ah, yeah.
And she plans to go in May.
Oh,
and she
wow.
has an awful lot to get organised before she goes. And
Fantastic.
finances are definitely one of the things she needs to get in check. And that was incredibly accurate
Beautiful. Thank you.
in every way. So thank you very
Oh,
much.
that's cool. Instant validation. Love it.
Instant. I know. I was going, and I thought, no, I'm just going to tell you
Wow.
how, that's exactly the discussion that we were having. She's looking
thank
at
you.
going in May.
Beautiful.
Now, before we go to your question, Sammy, I would just like to let our viewers at home know that you can tune in to us via live streaming Facebook and YouTube. Now, we've managed to get both up together, and I wanted to say a special thank you to Jamie for doing this, who's in our control room tonight, and he's assisting us to be able to now stream live on both platforms. And I'm very excited about that, because a lot of people that I chat to say, oh, I find it really difficult to get onto the link to see it on Facebook, or I can't seem to be able to click on the bell and get on YouTube. So you can choose whichever one you want now, and you can always go back at any time, because we're always on Facebook, and watch it after the fact. It's always great to watch it live though, in the moment. So, and we also really would still like to continue to get your feedback. We love hearing your thoughts on all aspects of the show. Couple of shout outs. We're getting to you, Sammy, just 1 minute. Meta from Touch Therapies. Hi, thank you very much for your shout out. And we've got Peter, Sharla, Jenny, Nicole, Tanya, and is it Savion?
Sauvignon Blanc, it is.
Not until after the show. Well after the show, but it's Monday night. It's a school night.
It's a school night.
Yes,
Oh, don't
it's a
get the
mineral
bottle.
water with a slice of lemon night.
It drive you to drink, Viv.
My bookend. We are so alike, aren't we? Okay, so going over to you, Sammy, and thanks everyone for the shout outs, and I'm sure just keep them coming through the show. I wish we could turn the camera around and just have a look at our floor manager here, Kitty, with her glass of Sauvignon Blanc. I wish I could have a sip of that right now. Sammy, we have Melisha, born on the 27th of the 7th, 1977. I have to say,
Lots
there's a
of
lot of
sevens.
people that write
Lots of
in, and that I
sevens.
find this sort of repeated numbers of 7 often in their birthdays.
I haven't picked up on that, but it will happen sometimes.
I've found often there's this kind of continuation of 7s. I don't know. I know it's a spiritual number numerologically.
amazing.
I absolutely love your show. Well, thank you. We love that you love our show. Thank you very much. My question for Sammy, just wondering if you see us buying a house soon. We're waiting on some money coming through. Do you see that being successful and helping with buying a house? Thank you and God bless.
Okay.
Isn't that beautiful?
Thank you. Hello, sweetheart. How are you? Now, the first thing I got is just the financial side of things, and money definitely between now and April. I can see that this influx is going to be here, which is going to enable you to get this deposit. Now, I feel like you've got this vision of this dream home that you've wanted, and it's like it's been there for such a long time. So I don't know if this is something that you've seen or something that you're actually going to build, but it's like you have this vision on how you want this house to be, and you are going to have this house, which I'm so excited. It's just like you've worked so hard, and all this stuff has just been building and building and building, and you've been so patient, and Spirit are just saying you're being asking and you've been asking and you've been waiting and waiting, and now it's actually coming. So by April, I really am feeling like the financial side of it is just going to definitely be there to sort of help get you on track for that, which is amazing. And then sort of by July, August time, it's just like if I'm seeing paperwork. So you might be either designing or there's all this stuff going on. I mean, I'm not actually feeling like you're going to move in there or do the actual move maybe till sort of November, December time. And you're going to sort of be a little bit impatient, but you've waited this long. And I really can see that this is going to be a beautiful place for you, really, not just mentally, but spiritually too. So I feel this is maybe somewhere where you've wanted to go and you haven't been, or you've had this idea. It's like a spiritual connection when you move to this house. So I hope you understand that, because it doesn't get sort of talked about too much, but it's just like when you do get to this place, it's going to be very, very special for you, okay? So keep putting it out there and just trust by April you've started. By sort of October, November, you're 2/3 of the way there, maybe moving in the beginning of next year. So thank you for your question and good luck to you. Thank you.
It's interesting, Sammy, that Marg, the EP, was just saying in my ear that that lady you just read for was born at 3:04 a.m, which reduces to 7 as well. So there's
There you
a
go.
real
There's lots
repetition
of
of sevens.
Yeah,
for her.
seven,
Do you see
seven,
anything
seven.
about that, Steve?
With Milika, Milika's home is very important to
Yeah.
her. And I also feel with you, Milika, children and animals, it's a pretty special thing because they're free spirits, aren't they? And they don't have any conditions. And they just love you, and you don't have to work at it. And it's a really nice feeling, and that will always be throughout your life. I think long term, I see you as a manager, and your family is going to be really, really important to you. But towards your later years, and we're getting into the 50s, 60s and 70s, I think you're going to be managing some sort of responsibility or being in some sort of role where it's a personal opportunity for you. I will say this of you, even though it's past, but up until about the age of 28, 29, I feel you've been crushed and your ego has been severely thwarted in some way, and perhaps not a nice thing to reflect on, but it's made you what you are today. A lot wiser. You're a very, very compassionate person and very, very understanding of those who are less fortunate, and I think that might be one of the reasons why you would make a good counsellor. You're a very good people person, but I see a humanitarian in you, and that's not going to change. Good luck.
What beautiful qualities to have.
Yeah, lovely.
Beautiful.
We've all got special gifts, and yeah. So if you'd like to know yours, because we've all got them, and it's a time I think to have a great deal of faith, because it's easy to get lost in the darkness of what we perceive as what's going on around the world. We're certainly in a changing theatre, aren't we? And a bit of uncertainty sweeping us. That's going to change. We've always had that uncertainty. But when you see August and September, that need to be so determined that I think we're all facing at the moment, that's going to be cleared away. And I've got to say, March is perhaps a little bit heavy as we record this show in 2017, but we're coming into April very shortly, as we always do each year. But April's going to be wonderful, wonderful for a lot of people. I think a lot of people, as we come into March, you're all going to get serious about contracts, agreements and commitments, and it'll start as early as the 3rd of March.
Well, it was interesting. I was reading your weekly predictions
Well,
today.
you included that in that, yeah.
Yes,
on
and also
Facebook.
about February being, you know, the time to sort of, if you want to.
February's
have,
a light month.
Yeah,
We're not going
be
to
a
see.
bit more lighthearted.
It's been a little bit of an emotional time this last 4 weeks, the month of February. But as we move into October of this year, we're going to see a repeat of February. So that will be coming into Christmas. We're not going to see as many lighthearted, get-togethers as what we have seen in February until again in October. And you can mark it in your diaries. I think between the 10th and the 17th of October, it's quite a further way into the year. Brilliant, brilliant period. Very, very lucky period.
Do you know, it's interesting you say that about March, because, you know, I don't follow the astrology like you really understand the astrology, but I find that March for a lot of my clients lately, I've just been seeing it as being either a head down, bum up, quite an intense time, moving through things. There's a lot to plough through, but in April, we're actually going to be able to see through the clouds and the fog. and it feels, I'm really seeing this, you
Oh,
know,
it'll
that
be a
there's a
release.
lot to be done in March.
It'll certainly be a release. And I think with this new moon eclipse coming up, we've got that on the 26th of February. We will not see another eclipse after this until the 21st of August. So that's going to really affect Leos and Aquarians. But this new moon eclipse we've got coming up on the 26th this week, that is in Pisces. So that's going to, if you're a Virgoan, you've got major decisions in relationships. But let's cut to the quick here. So if you're born on the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th of any month of the year, you have got guaranteed any time from now over this next 5 months leading up to the 21st of August, major new decisions to make. It's going to land in your lap, literally. It's a godsend.
Well, I've had an extremely social 2 months, a little bit too social. So it's definitely head down and bum up for me in March. I've already planned out my month in advance, and I'm starting to ring some of my friends and saying, I'm sorry, I can't. I've got to clear the decks.
Well, it's
So
been
that's
lovely
right.
having you on the show, Viv.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you gave me some notice.
How are you going to go without your other bookend? Yes, I'm sorry. We'll have to clear the decks and clear the chair.
You'll be multitasking
That's
on,
all right,
on the
Steve. I'll
show.
hit you over the head with my Sauvignon Blanc that I can no longer drink because
Well, I don't
I'm
want
not
to
in
catch
social
another
mood
one of
anymore.
those in the back of the neck,
Thanks,
Viv. Like last week. Perhaps I could get Kitty on. Now, let's keep moving
Don't
on
get me
here.
laughing again. Stop. We've got a reading for Terry now.
Oh, Terry, she's still awake. I thought I heard a little... Now, I had to glance down.
my
I could
laugh.
see you there, my love. Like an ad for OPSM, smiling there. Now we've
now
got,
it's Specsavers.
oh, no.
No.
And I'll stick with OPSM, thanks. Nadia,
You get a second pair.
is this,
Specsavers.
this is a call for Terry. I completed my Bachelor in Visual Arts and have put that aside for some years, now thinking of trying to exhibit my art, but lack of confidence is starting to hit me. What do you see for me?
Oh, hello, Nadia. It was Nadia, wasn't it, Steve?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
24th
Hi,
of the 3rd,
Nadia.
75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, it's great to have you on the show, number one, but I'm going to get straight into it for you because I feel in my solar plexus I've got this real knotted feeling, okay? Yes, you have lost your confidence, but life's knocked you around a little bit. That's why that's happened. But I feel that you are going to regain this, okay? And it's going to be a series of events for you that take place over these next 6 months in particular, okay? So it's people patting you on the back, people appreciating what you're doing, this sort of thing. And it's also an offer or opportunity coming out of the woodworks for you, okay? Now, I really feel, and you heard everything that was going on there, I really feel it is around the end of April where that comes in, or in that last 2 weeks of April. So I'm really pinpointing that for you because I think it's going to be something that you're not going to want to refuse. Now, I'm just going to do your cards quickly on that. I feel like you need to do some inner work for yourself, okay? So, you know, a meditation, some reflection, pulling out the weeds, you know, you really need to work at this level for yourself, okay? Now, I'm also just doing your cards here, and once again, I'm just going to pop them into 3 for you, Nadia. Again, picking that, you're very intuitive. In actual fact, you're quite an empath, and that's why you get knocked around so easy, okay? But there is definitely opportunities coming for you. Now, I don't know what state you're contacting us from, but I feel that you are going to have a bit of a journey. I know that wasn't your direct question, but I do feel it coming up, and it feels like it's an interstate journey. I do hear Melbourne around you, so I'm not sure if you're down there or you're going to head there. So that is pretty strong indeed. But I also feel like you're getting a broader scope on not only with your own work, what you're doing, but also it's going to branch out into these other areas, which is going to give you a feeling of freedom, basically, and I think that's what you're going to look at this year. It's really breaking out of the box. It's breaking out of that everything being so restricted around you, and that means people as well as you know, material things. You've had a lot of those sort of blocks around you, but you know what? The gods are shining on you, Nadia, and I think things are going to come right for you. You're going to move ahead this year. Okay, thank you for requesting me and contacting the show.
Thanks,
Wonderful.
Terry.
Thanks
That
so
was a
much.
great reading, by the way. And our show's all about clairvoyance, clairaudience, your present and your future. Get those birth dates into us there on the screen. It's allaboutyouau@gmail.com into our inbox.
And over to you now, Peter.
Okay.
We have Katina.
Okay.
Katina's born on the 15th of the 12th, 1963. I'm seeking direction in my life. Where will 2017 lead me?
Okay, hello Katina, and thanks for your question tonight. Now, just as I'm tuning into your energy, it really feels like, well, first of all, I'll talk about your numerology. You're in a year 1 this year of a new 9-year chapter. And it really feels apparent because as I tune into your energy, I'm seeing you at this point at a personal level where you're unhitching yourself. You're in this let go process. And it really feels like you're going through where you're really detaching yourself from, quite a few things that have been holding you back the last few years. So it does feel like a little bit of a culling period for you. As I look in your daily life area, I'm seeing that it kind of feels like there's this enough is enough energy, where I'm just seeing you stripping through and cutting through some of the crap that's been around you, and you're really getting to the core. I'm seeing you actually, it's like there's like stripping through the actual layers around you in order to be able to break free. It's like you're not being, it's not a year to be patient. It really feels like it's a year to really just get things going. It's time. You're feeling that energy for change and it feels good. As I'm feeling around your love energy, your relationship energy, it kind of feels like there's or this is the way I'm actually being shown it, there's been a little bit of tiptoeing the energy, actually just having a look and skipping here. I want to say this is now time to really indulge in you and to step into indulging the relationship within you, owning the love. This next chapter is about you, Katina, really stepping in. It's not about other people as much because you do have a high tolerance for not putting yourself first and being there for everybody else. And this is now your time. There's this real energy of, it's quite a high energy of change is ready, I've had enough, and things are going to happen. So at a time like this, as we were talking about, March is quite an intense time. This is now an opportunity for you to be able to it's an opportunity for you to be able to break through in March, like to actually break through some of the old things that you need to clear out. Now, there's just going to pull some cards here. Now, one of the first things that I felt about you was just feeling a little bit unsteady around your foundations, and I pulled the base chakra card, which is no surprise. There's something, a change around your home that's coming, and I want to say that there's things to sort out, but there's going to be home-related shift or change that's coming over the next few months. For the first half of this year, there's things to sort out in regards to this. You are going to do well this year. It is going to be a beautiful beginning, a beautiful change from what you have been, I suppose, holding responsibility for. And this is going to really, I want to say the next couple of years are getting better and better because there's some really great surprises coming in your work life, in your daily life. Especially September this year is going to be a golden time for you because it's really coming into you stepping into your power. So I wish you all the best. It is a great year, and it's a year of growth and change and expansion. All the best, Katina. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that, Peter. Now, we've got some feedback already from Katina whilst you were doing the reading. And she just wanted to... I know, wasn't it? That's the beauty of live streaming. Katina said, so true what you're saying, so incredibly true, but she doesn't know how to do it.
She doesn't know
But
how
she
to
thinks,
make the change.
yeah, but Marga's just saying to me that she thinks that you may have answered it now. She sent that in, I think, at the early part of the reading.
Okay, let's just choose a card, if I may, on Now, what I'm going to do for you on a personal level, I am getting that just go with your intuition right now, Katina, because this is actually a time for you to be trusting yourself more than ever before. So stop, give yourself that space, do a little ritual every morning where you're going to just, even if it's just 5 minutes of just sitting quietly, because we need you to be in your center right now, because February is quite a time where if it's not coming from your intuition, and intuition's the word of the night, you'll hear more about this later, don't do it. If it's not coming from your core, don't do it. The challenge or the learning for you right now is to have the audacity to ask for what you want. And this is the time to really do it. The action card for you, and I'm just going through this really, really quickly for you, is it's time now for you to be healing and nurturing yourself. You're just there way too much for other people. And your tolerance for putting up with crap, like I said before, way too high. You're very thorough when you look at things. You're a real analyst. You sit in your head a lot. It's now time to just really, really focus on you, because the opportunity for you is that the sun is shining, but it's going to happen in ways that you can't even predict now, because there's because it really feels that it's going to come from you actually changing your process, your habit, your ritual, the way you actually relate with yourself. That's what's going to bring the change this year, not from applying or getting out or doing that. Wait for the inspired, intuitive feeling that's coming from you. Inspired action, let that be your motto for 2017.
I think
All the best.
sometimes intuition, people think they're not doing anything, and that's doing a lot more than action.
Yes.
And I think I love what you said about have the audacity. You know, people think there's something wrong in taking space for themselves, or
Have the gall.
Have the
some,
gall.
have some
Yes.
cheek.
Yeah, because
I
Steve
counsel
has
that.
program.
plenty,
Yeah.
and it's done very well
You
for
think
him.
so?
It's made him one of my best friends. All right,
Because
so
he's got a
let's
lot of
move
gall.
on. I love it.
It's a never-ending
Need
career
a little bit
haul
of
with the gall,
fire in
I
his
tell
belly
you
to
what.
stick. Hang in
Now,
there
we
with
have,
me.
thanks, Pete, and thanks, Katina. Sammy, don't worry, Terry, we'll be back to you.
Yes, we will.
Sammy, Karen, you're coming up, my love. Sammy, Karen writes in, 13th of the 2nd, 1964, will I remain, get this one, will I remain with the person that I'm in a relationship with, and where do you see me this time next year? Well, I do hope, Karen, your partner's not watching this show. So, Sammy, it's
You know something that I don't.
we'll be catching javelins.
Okay.
It wasn't our fault. Please.
Talk about putting me on
Karen's
the
papa.
spot. Thank you. Hi, Karen. Okay, thank you for your question. Okay, well, now I feel that this is quite, I think between the two of you, this relationship is quite positive. But I'm feeling outside of that, there's a lot of people that aren't happy about this. So I'm feeling that there is some animosity around this relationship, but I'm not feeling that it's coming from you. I feel that, or from him, I feel like it's coming from people outside. So this is making this relationship a very, very rocky. It's like you want one thing, he wants something else. You're kind of compromising and meeting each other in the middle, which is a good thing. But I'm feeling this real strong interference from outside, and it's making this kind of like very difficult for you to kind of, although you're compromising and sort of meeting each other in the middle, there's still this outside influence which is making this not very healthy, if that makes sense. Now, I have a feeling that you are going north. I don't know why. I just got this real strong feeling that you're going to be going north, and I feel it's going to be this year. Now, you're on a spiritual quest, and I feel that when we've got drama, you know, it's just like, when you've got this feeling that this is where you're meant to be, and I just have this feeling that you go, I know that I have to go here, but I don't know why, and that's okay. I'm just really getting you pulled north. I don't know why, it's there. So if this is something that's pulling you, even if you have to sort of have a sort of break from this relationship, just to go and find out why you need to be there, and learn that, and then find out what, if this man cares about you, he's going to be here when you come back. Like I say, I'm not feeling it's between you two. I'm feeling this outside influence is influencing this relationship. So where this is going to go, remember, you have free will, and nobody can tell you what you can or what you can't do. This is your decision and your choice. But I feel that you've got to go north and you've got to do this. And if he is there waiting for you when you come back, this can be worked out. So try not to listen to gossip, because it's coming at you from all angles, which is making you uneasy. But go north and find out why.
So is that outside interference somewhat like the Fockers?
Outside interference is just like
The focus.
I suppose.
Well, there was a
politely,
whole
you could
bunch
say-
of it in that movie.
You could say that.
Because that was going
politely.
to send her north to Alaska.
I know, but it's like when you have people, it can be you have a lot of strong
Oh, yes.
personalities around you, and people don't like you being in this relationship. It's like I don't like him. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it's not up to everybody else. But the thing is, it's just like we're programmed from when we're young. Somebody tells you that you're not worthy. It takes you years and years and years for you to get over that. So when this person comes to you and says this man isn't the right person for you, you know what I mean?
So she needs to say no to her version of Robert De Niro.
Yeah, she needs to say no, and but I just feel that she needs to go north, and I think she needs to go on her own, and I think she needs to find out why, and then sort this out when she gets back.
Tell
But they
Robert De
seem
Niro
all
to
right.
take a flying
Yeah.
leap.
Yeah.
And by the way, Sam, just before we move on with the next reading, Terry, I'm glad that you are still there. You've been very, very patient this evening. Your husband is sitting in the control room having a glass of wine, enjoying the show. Isn't that good to know?
Hi, baby.
We sound like we could be the test laboratory at Barossa Valley here on the show. It's funny how things start out in life, and we've had a major shift.
Where's mine?
Now a program
Well,
about
you know
wine.
what they do. They break bread and drink wine in churches. So, but this is a
Why not
holy
here?
show.
Noel
so,
has written in red pen, may I have a reading from one of the drunks? Well, Noel, I'm sorry, Noel. Eric, can you just edit that bit out, Eric? Anyway, Terry, put that
You've
bottle
already
down.
done your readings for the evening.
I can hear my producer going, Steve, do the show, will you? The credibility's tied to a caboose. Renee is the... Terry, are you there, love? Yes, you are.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm glad that
Thank you.
medication's working, love. Now, 12th of the 5th, 1977, Renee writes in, I would love some guidance about me letting go of my past and about wanting to start my study with my crafts. Love the show, which means you better do a good reading for me. So,
Hello, Renee. How lovely to have you here. Okay, well, you certainly are a talented woman. And you know what? The past is what makes us to be unique and individuals. Don't be too harsh on yourself there with your past, because even if you want to let go of it physically, it's still there energetically, because it's like your map. Okay, of this lifetime. So please don't be too harsh on yourself. And we can heal and we can move on, but it's still a part of us. So when we get to a point that we can embrace that as well, that you're doing your soul work. Okay, and this is what you're looking at here. Now, as I said, I think I'm just shuffling now. I think that you're a very talented lady, and I feel that you should move on with your crafts. Now, I don't know what the music is around you, but I feel quite a bit of music, okay? So whether it's you really like listening to it or you're actually, doing drums or guitars or something, I don't know, or you're in a music group maybe, but I certainly feel that, thank you, and dance, okay? And the more you move, the more you create, Renee, okay? So you need to keep that nice balance, that harmony, okay, within your being, all right? And that will also help this stuck energy that you're worried about with your past. It'll help you be fluidic. Okay, and when we become like that, well, we don't get stuck. We don't get hung up on what has happened or should have happened or is going to happen. So I really feel that you need to just be a little bit more mindful of that side of life. Okay. Now I'm just shuffling your cards here. I do feel I'm separating them into three. There we go. We're taking the middle pile for you. Okay, what I'm really feeling, look, there's been lots of blockages, lots of obstacles there, so that it was pretty tough for you to move on with your crafts, whatever that may be, okay? But I feel you're going to get a breakthrough soon, All right, there is a bit of a, you might have a little bit of a hump in the road here you're gonna feel like you've taken 3 steps back and forward and 1 back sort of thing, but you're going to be okay. It's not as bad as you first think it is, okay? And you are going to move through, and it's going to start to manifest just lovely for you. I see a few children around you, so I'm not sure whereabouts they are in your scope, but I do see that they're there, and I do see that they'll be quite significant in this next step that you take. Look, I feel really good, in the sense of that priestess side of you. It's like ancient knowledge that you've brought through in lifetimes, and this is what's happening now, okay? So it's all, and that's why you feel so creative. That's why you sort of, need to get this out of you, because it's just been there for so long, and now is the time. Okay, so even if it had been 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been the time. All the ingredients wouldn't have been there, okay? And so that past stuff you're talking about, that's part of your ingredients as well. So I can just see this lovely motion around you, and I think you're going to do really well, Renee, okay? Just loosen up on yourself a little bit, okay? I hope that answered you this evening.
That's great
Thanks,
advice,
Renee.
Terry. It's true. Everyone has their own timelines, don't they? And it doesn't necessarily correlate to anybody else's or what society says you should have done by a certain age. So, okay. Now, I just want to do a couple of shout-outs before we move on with some further readings. Hi to Loris. Thanks for your shout-out. Sarah, Sylvia, Geordie and Fiona, we'd like to let you know that we will get to your answer of your question next week. Sorry, we've just got a few too many to get through this week. So over to you, Peter, now with Charla. Now, Charla's born on the 20th of the 7th, 1965. What's in store for my love life and my career?
Okay. Hello, Charla. Thanks for your question. Now, as I'm tuning into your energy, I'm actually being shown that there's a little bit of restriction around you at the moment. I'm feeling a little bit bound up, and also it seems like there are others around that. Now, it's quite an interesting image that I'm actually being shown here, because it's like there's just too many people, that either you are paying attention to or you've been listening to their voices, whether they're actual voices or voices from the past. But it's now time for you to be able to break free of these restrictions, because you're coming into a time of change, another time of change. And funny enough, you're also in a year 1 of a brand new 9-year chapter this year, and it's going to start off with, I want to say, in some interesting ways, because when it comes to your work and career, there's a bit of a stuck energy that I'm sensing over here, and I'm seeing you breaking through some of this stuck energy, but it's coming through with a little bit of patience and dedication, determination in terms of training in new areas. And so I do see some books and some, whether it's online or actually going to courses, but I do see some study here for you in the first half of this year. And I do want to say that it's within the next couple of months, this is going to be happening. It's going to give you it's going to give you purpose. It's also going to give you a direction, a way forward. The actual things that you're going to be researching and studying is what's going to be the focus, because there's something that you're building to in the next couple of years. So study is a very, very good one in order to look at the bigger picture, so you're not focused on the areas that you're not interested in, to really focus on the areas that with some patience and dedication you're able to go through. Now, your love life is really interesting, because I see something really different, and I'm going to tell you what I'm being shown, and of course it's a metaphor, but I'm seeing you parachuting out of a plane, and it's a really beautiful metaphor for me, because I'm seeing you beginning a new journey, and it feels like a great journey that's actually where you're being daring, trying new things, stepping into stepping into unknown territory here, and it feels really, really good for you because it's taking you into because I am seeing regarding love, there's going to be new people coming into your life and someone significant this year that's going to be like a signpost on your path, and perhaps from your past, but I'm seeing this person as it's like a little preview. There's going to be an interlude later this year that's going to lead you to another partner. So what that means is there's going to be a little bit of a step up for you regarding relationship. I'm going to choose a card for you, actually a couple of cards for you in regards to relationship, and I do see new beginnings around you. Things are going to go really well, and I am really, really curious as to this person that's going to be coming in the second half of this year. I'm just going to choose a couple of cards for you around your work just to bring this to completion. And this is also confirming because it's you stepping out of your comfort zone. There are changes coming, but let's link it to the bigger picture because it's like we're rebuilding the passion of Charla. Wish you all the best. I hope that supports you. Have a great February. Thank you.
Thanks very much, as
you.
always, Peter. Okay, so Terry, we have a reading for you before we wrap up with it today. It's for a lady called Tony. But before we get started, a viewer's just written in to say that they love your hairstyle. Is that a new haircut that you have?
Yes, it is.
Oh, there you go. Well, they've recognised it and they just wanted to let you know that they love your new hairstyle. Isn't that beautiful? Okay.
That's lovely. Thank you very much.
Now, we have a lady called Tony, and she's born on the 2nd of the 3rd, 1972. And she would just like to know if there's going to be any changes for her and her family this year, potentially a little less struggle, perhaps, even.
Okay, Tony. Hi. How you going? Okay. Look, it's a funny year this year. We're all got lots of ups and downs in it for sure, and being a one as well. Look, I think coming up, like as we've all spoke about on what the energies are bringing around these next couple of months, I do feel that you might be, there might be a few bindies in your walkway coming up till about the April. But as we look at that end of May, I really like that. Something changes there. So I don't know if it's around the home. So if you're deciding to sell, or you actually get a buyer for it or something like that, there is a shift there. I think as you move further down the year, then you're going to start to look for where you all resonate together in that spot, okay? Because what I'm feeling is that it's like we can't actually find our spot, okay? Like we did for a little while and we've been in this area, okay, and that's when that epiphany comes that it's like, well, it might be this area that we're not resonating to, why there might be arguments in the home or unsettlement of some sort in the home. So when the epiphany takes place and you move through those months, okay, and then you get your buy, because I think you'll sell quite quickly. Okay, so once you get to there or the house sells quickly, then the move happens and it's like, right, we can breathe. There's a lot of nature around you. I wouldn't be surprised if you're not too far from the water actually, but I feel like it's an opportunity for your husband and yourself as well. Okay, because I feel that you guys have really been through a lot as a couple, let alone as the family. Okay, but I feel as you head more towards the end of the year, especially that September, October, I feel that things are going to start to even out much better for you as a family and everyone's getting their feet back on the ground. Okay, so it is a bit of a rocky year. Okay, but when you move into that 218, my heart opens. Okay, I have a completely different feeling to what I've got through this year, but I don't want that to come across negative either because life's life, but I feel once you start heading towards that 218, I just feel really good for you guys. I feel like you're in the right spot and you've made the right decisions. Okay, I hope that helped you, Tony.
Well, years go very quickly. I find that 12 months goes in about 6 weeks these days. So 2018 is not that far away for them to wait for. Thanks so much for Terry coming in, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks for your phenomenal readings.
You will.
Fantastic.
Great to see you, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
Bye, Terry.
Awesome.
Like
Thank
to
you.
write in a question for Terry on our screen there, allaboutyouau@gmail.com. You can get the messages into our inbox on our website there. And we're also streaming from this week on YouTube and also on Facebook. Now, we've got a topic of discussion tonight.
Yes, an interesting one this evening. A very broad topic, but interestingly also quite specific.
Yes, and our topic of discussion is intuition. How do you know when to trust your intuition? That's your gut feeling. Pete, the spotlight turns to you. That's
there you
very
go.
nice, isn't it?
And I think you really are all about intuition. I think you work with it beautifully, and I think you help other people to access theirs. It's a real skill of yours. I think I see so much of that Piscean in you, which is such an intuitive sign, and it seems to be very much a core of your being is intuition.
It's really beautiful that you acknowledge that, because what I was going to say was I had a reading back in 2004 when I was working as a system and database analyst, and they told me that, and the guy said to me, "Oh, you're not talking to your guides." And I was just really, and it was at a point in my life where I was just so blocked, and I had no idea what intuition was. You know, and that was like, it was just before things really, really opened up for me. But I was really, really blocked, and I was stuck in my head, and I was so analytical, and I was not able to access it. And for me, it was something to analyze. I couldn't understand what intuition was. But it's just the journey for me over the last few years has just been around sitting in my heart and learning to actually sit in my heart and trust. And it's actually... And it's a continual commitment to actually go there because I'm an analyst, you know, I'm very analytical. I've got the arrow of intellect in my numerology. It's just, I love analysing stuff. And so it's a continual just dropping back into my space. And so it's, so the intuition I find is like almost a daily commitment. You know, to actually go there, because I can be as ditzy as all get out, you know, like in my regular life, and just not clue into things sometimes. It sort of switches on and off, you know, that intuitive sense. And I think it's when I get personally involved, you know, where I want to win the lotto on Saturday night, you know, I really want it, and my intuition's telling me those are my numbers, and my intuition's gonna be right because it feels good. And so sometimes it can just be so off and this is it's a bit of a dance that I think we all sort of play, our hopes and wishes and fears versus our intuition. And it's one that I certainly play with. How do you see it?
How do you see it, Sammy?
Okay, I think really, like we all have it, you know, but I was just thinking about something actually that we did together, talking about intuition.
Okay.
Remember,
One of many different things that we've done together.
We went to a car yard.
Oh, that's right.
And trusting the intuition. This is
Years ago we
really,
did this. It was
is
amazing.
really, really amazing because Viv put me in a car, okay? Now, they took me to a car yard. I had no idea where I was going. I had no idea who was going to be there, what was going to happen. Now, this is just this was a huge lesson for me to learn to go, intuition is always right. This is crazy, intuition's true. Now, I got in the car all the way, Viv will verify this, all the way to the car yard. I didn't know we were going. All I could hear was a red car, white car, red car, white car in my head, and I started speaking out loud. So Viv's going, red car, white car, red car, white car. So she knew that there was something going on with me, and I was speaking out loud, and I didn't have no idea where it was coming from. I was just saying it. So we get to this car yard. Now, camera things, people there, pressure, you know.
Yeah, we were filming a segment.
They were filming a segment, and there was a lot of pressure too, and it was just like, I was very nervous. I'd never done anything like this before, that the intuition was just so strong, and it just kept going red, white, red, white. So we get out into the car yard, and she goes, okay, there's something hidden There was about 30 cars in the car yard, and she says, you've
Oh,
got...
probably actually
Well,
more,
maybe
probably
more.
about 50.
So she said, you have got 3 shots at it. 3 shots to try and find it. And I was like, okay, 3 shots. Really confident, you know, just like red car, white car. And there's a red car and a white car parked side by side, true or not?
True.
So I'm looking at it going, it's in the red car. I just knew. I was just like, it's in the red car. Intuition, got in the red car. But I went to the white car first. Now, I was just getting this feeling. I was like, oh, no, it's not in there. So, of course, open the boot, nothing in there. Go to the second car and go. So it was going, number 2. So for some stupid reason, stupid reason, I go, blue car, right? Ego, blue car. Go to the blue car. She's going, I know that you know that it's not in there. But she wasn't saying that to me. I couldn't hear her, but I could
'Cause I was
feel
like
her
this.
saying she knew that I knew that it was in the red car. But this is why, when we're talking about intuition, this is how powerful your intuition is, but how stupid your freaking ego is. And so I've gone, okay, now when she said it's not in there, I lost my confidence, I lost my nerve, I let my ego take over. I knew without a doubt, you can ask me, without a doubt, the stuff that they were talking about was hidden in the red car, but my ego took over, and the last car I went to was blue, knowing damn well it wasn't in there. And of course, they've opened the boot and it wasn't in there. So they just walked up to me and she said to me, I know that you know where that is. All the time in that whole car, the whole way here, you were going red car, white car. Go to the red car, go to the red car, open the boot, there it is. I was like, oh! So that really and
But
truly
I'd heard it in the car the whole way there.
is a prime example
It
on
was-
trusting
yeah.
your
And it's so true.
intuition.
Yeah.
And what you would call ego in that, I call my analytical mind.
Yeah, it's ego. I call
Yeah.
it ego. Your
Yeah.
thinking is that ego. It takes over, and you just go, you know. And it's much better. It's you take
And
it
the way
away.
Sammy was speaking and the way she walked straight over to the car, it was just so agonising to watch it because she walked straight over to the boot of the car and then she moved away. And there was 40, 50 cars in the yard.
Yeah. So but having that experience, although it was a crazy thing, you know, it so taught me so much. It was just like, you got to learn to trust your gut.
Yeah, that's
You know what I
such
mean?
a
You
beautiful
can't,
story.
you can't think a feeling. You know, is when you have that intuition, it's going beyond the 6 senses. You don't know how you know. You just do. You know, and it's funny because me and Pete were having a discussion about this in the car. You know, I mean, you can get up in the morning, and you can think, oh, today, you know, is going to be such an awesome day, and I'm thinking it. You know, and you go out there and you have the biggest, baddest day from hell. You know, but when you get up in the morning and you go, I feel good. You go out there and you kick butt, you know, and your day's really good because you feel it. So it's learning to go. Too much of us are going this against this.
Yes, when in doubt, don't.
When in doubt, don't. And I
Yeah.
always say that, Steve.
Yes.
It's so true.
It is
When in
true,
doubt,
isn't
do
it? Yeah.
nothing.
If you're not
Exactly.
sure, don't do it.
When in doubt, do nothing.
Yeah, never, ever, ever make
No.
a decision under pressure.
No.
Always make a decision when you feel good.
That's exactly right.
And I practice that because every time I've made a decision in the past where I didn't feel good, it was always a bad choice. But the best
Yes.
decisions are where you feel good and you're just waiting for the answer, and usually you've forgotten about it, and then you go, I'm going to do that. And
Okay, because we've got to wrap up because Marg's onto us because we're over time. Just one tip, because I know that people always say, what is the difference between intuition and thought? And a lot of people really just don't know. So what's one tip from both of you that you would say, what is intuition? Like, what is it? How can someone say, that was my intuition?
do you know what I would say to that is it's a feeling, but it doesn't come with excitement or it doesn't come with an emotion.
That makes sense
It's a
to me.
feeling
Yeah.
Very
instead
much.
of an emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this is a thing. It's like me. I know that I'm going to win the lotto. Like that was emotion.
Yes.
But when I feel that you're going to have a great day, you know, and that there's a surprise coming, that's my intuition.
Yes, love it.
Yeah,
That's
so true.
beautiful.
Yes, that was well answered,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Sammy?
And it's just basically, again, like very much on the same. It's learning to it's go back to center. You know what I mean? It's just like we all have this intuition, and like Pete was saying before, it's just like, don't make any decisions if it doesn't feel right for you, the same as what Steve was saying, if it doesn't feel right, you just, like Steve was talking about it earlier, like how strong it is, mothers especially, we have this gut. Don't do this because, you know, we don't just say to our kids, don't do this because it's not because we're always right, it's just because we know.
Yes,
Yeah, when it
You know,
comes to our
and
kids,
there
we
is
know.
you can't explain that. It's just the
And
way it is.
how many times have we heard people say, oh, God, I knew I shouldn't have done that.
Exactly.
Or I knew I should have done that.
Exactly.
Because that's their gut intuition.
Exactly.
It's sort of that silent voice. It, it sort of like doesn't have a characteristic to it. It's just like this, You go,
And someone once said to me, and I believe this is true, the first thing is always your intuition, and the second thing to come through is your ego or your
Yes.
Or your
analytical
mind.
mind.
It's like
Right.
first impressions, the biggest.
Yeah.
We've
Thank
got
you
a quick-
for...
Thanks so much, guys. Sorry, I'm rushing because we've got the EP up there. Just, you know, it's a little bit of a hurry up.
Amanda
Drinking her
Hall
glass
will be
of-
coming on very
drinking her
soon
glass of wine.
with
Drinking
Skype,
that
and we'll be
wine.
talking about the
Faster.
moon in the signs with Capricorn, and if your moon is placed in Aquarius or Pisceans, how are you as persons or the people you're expecting to communicate when they have that moon placement? It's interesting, isn't it, when you go to meet people, may I ask where your moon is? And if they say, I beg your pardon, you're on a loser there. So but we'll find out a bit more with Amanda
Would you be able
about
to do,
where your moon is.
But before we go over to Amanda, would you be able to check out Simon's moon?
Yes, Simon's written in. He said, could I please have Steve do a reading for me? Simon, it's a pleasure. So you're the 21st of the 12th, 1975. You are your own man, and with this birth date, and I see you as a leader. It's not that you're a subservient person. You're happy to be a team player. You are going to attract a lot of people in this lifetime, right throughout this lifetime. And, you know, lucky for you, Simon, people like you. That's just such a blessing to have that. So when you meet people, they like your personality. They see you as a strong individual. They see you as a leader type person as well, and it doesn't suit you to be in a subservient role. So I would suspect these natural skills that you've had even as a child moving into your teenage years, I would have expected you to be in some sort of leading capacity. Now, also with you, there are major changes in your life at the age of 35, 44, 53 and 62 especially. You will also find in the years that after those birth dates you've got a little bit of uncertainty, but they're also new beginnings for you. I see you doing some study over this next 12 months. It starts as soon as now, and you may find from month to month you're in the school of life, and you will probably at some stage, how can a man who's so friendly find himself a little bit more alone than normal? Not lonely, but alone. And it's in that aloneness you'll be doing a lot of thinking about where you're heading over this next 12-month period. So go through the role of specialising your skills over this next 12 months. You're going to be, even though it may appear to be a little bit uncertain, it's one of the luckiest years because of who you're going to be making contact with over this next 12 months. I see a few trips coming up. They're more domestic than what they are international, and long-term for you. Believe more in yourself. I see with you there is either a parent figure or somebody in a relationship, perhaps it's someone in a family who is a little bit controlling of you. So do your own thing and become your own person. Simon, I hope that's made sense to you, and good luck to you. If you'd like to get those questions into our inbox, allaboutyoau, @gmail.com. I can hear that Avon doorbell going, which suggests
We've
that...
just lost Amanda. Here we go.
Here she is.
Another
She's
go.
phoning in again for us. Here we go.
Okay.
And she's on the line now.
Yes.
Hi, guys. How are
Yay. Hi.
Amanda.
Hey, man.
How
You're
are
talking
you doing?
Amanda Hall, who's a top astrologer and also showcases her skills through the card set here, the Simply Tarot that we see here on the screen from time to time, and also the author of a great new book called Simply Astrology. Pleasure to have you on our show,
Such
Amanda.
a great book, Simply Astrology.
it's
an
easy to
absolute
read too.
must for budding astrologers. So just the
You're-
how-to, you know.
You're talking about the moon in the signs, like you have been in our series. The moon in Capricorn, the moon in Aquarius, the moon in Pisces.
The final three.
Yes, and I...
Final three. Yeah, so hello everyone. Lovely to be on the show again. The big special thank you to Jamie for all his hard work. It feels like old home week again, doesn't it, guys, to be back on Facebook as well as YouTube, so it's very exciting. So tonight we're going to be talking about the final three signs of the moon. For those that haven't been tuning in the last couple of weeks, I'll just give you a little recap on what the actual moon does in our chart. When we're actually born, it's like the universe takes a Polaroid snapshot of who we are, and we have 10 planets that get placed around our chart, or the zodiac chart. And one of those planets, or the luminary as it's officially known, is the moon. Now, the moon governs how we emotionally deal with situations that come up in our day-to-day lives. Now, there's not a person alive that cannot say that they aren't governed by emotion to some point. We might think that we aren't. We might think we're logical. We might think we're very practical and down to earth, and I don't get emotional. Well, that's utter BS, because everybody has some degree of emotion, and some degree of emotion, I think, colours our day-to-day decision making, from something as simple as what to have for breakfast to what we're going to do with the rest of our lives. So for the final three signs, we're working with Capricorn first. Now, it's really, really interesting, because when I first took up astrology many moons ago now, Capricorn was one of those difficult signs for me to place together with the moon, because Capricorn energy to me was big business. It was industrious. It was big. It was powerful. It stood for, you know, all the solid things in our lives, the things like politics and world travel and anything that you could think of on a mammoth scale. And I thought, now, how do you marry that in with the moon? Because, you know, yes, the moon likes to exaggerate sometimes, or can expand on things, but how do you sort of marry that into a personal level with somebody that has the moon in Capricorn? So as many things happened in my life, I usually found when I really needed to understand a particular sign or a particular planet, I'd have a run of those sort of clients, and they'd be for the next 3 months, I'd have everybody with the moon in Capricorn, so that I could really get a very solid feeling and understanding of it. Now, the moon in Capricorn to me is quite an unemotional moon. It can be a moon that's very practical, it's very logical. Some people even say downright cold. I don't know that cold is a word I'd put with it. I think it's just so practical and so logical. It's trying to shoehorn the emotions of the situation, or whatever the crisis or the problem is, or the happy situation in your life. It's trying to shoehorn it into a compartment, into a box, to say that's where you belong and that's how you'll behave. So it feels uncomfortable to wear our heart on our sleeve if you have the moon in Capricorn. Some people say, why don't they try and sort of pinch a little bit of their opposite sign, the moon in Cancer, and soften things up a little bit? But you can't necessarily just keep saying that, or saying, well, we'll bring in our opposite sign and sort of make this a little bit more colourful or a little bit more palatable. If you were born with the moon in Capricorn, you were born with it there for a reason. Everything that happens in our lives is there for a reason. It's to teach us certain lessons. And it may be the only strong focal point in the rest of your chart that pulls your whole chart together might be by having this powerful moon. So please don't be disillusioned or disappointed if you've got the moon in Capricorn. It just means you're the perfect person to have in a crisis, because you don't let everything fall to pieces around you. You're the go-to person in a crisis. So couple of famous people that have the moon in Capricorn. One is Brad Pitt. Now, I thought that was really, really interesting. And when you see how powerful he is on the movie screen and some of the roles that he's played, the emotion really does come out in a very controlled, exciting, definite sort of manner. So that's really interesting. Now, my female pick with the moon in Capricorn is going to surprise everybody, is Cher. Now, imagine Cher, the flamboyant, beautiful singer, entertainer who likes to get out there and, you know, wants to turn back time and always looks magnificent as if she's just stepped out of a fashion magazine. But she has the moon in Capricorn. Now, that may explain why she's been so passionate about her career all the way through, and been so orderly in the way that she's presented herself, even in her music clips. We move on to the moon in Aquarius. Now, the moon in Aquarius quite often gets bad press because everybody says, oh, anybody that's got the moon in Aquarius, they emotionally detach, flick a switch and shut down. Well, they seem like that because Aquarian is an air sign. It's about trying to control the energy. It's about trying to control their own emotions. And with Aquarians, it's like they need to do everything in their head. So for them, the moon is like doing thoughts in your tummy, and they can't handle that. It's like, oh, this is very foreign, I can't stand this, so I'll pull the roller door down. Nobody can see if I'm having a bad moment. Then I'll make a decision, and then when I've made my decision, it's final. There's no coming back. I open up the roller door and I'm ready to present my face to the world in a very focused, controlled, almost lifeless sort of no emotion manner, where I say, this is my decision, this is how I'm going to handle it. So be a little bit kinder to our friends with the moon in moon in Aquarius, because sometimes it's very difficult for them to be even able to understand the depth of their intensity of their emotions, because they're almost fighting with themselves. So interestingly enough, for those two people, I've got John Lennon. Now, John Lennon wrote some of the most beautiful lyrics on the planet. Nobody on the planet, I think, doesn't know a John Lennon or a Beatles song. We all tap away and sing along, and we can relate something to our lives with that. So it's really interesting that he was able to dig into that well of his emotions and bring it out in a song form that he could then share with everyone else. And the female counterpart for this is Princess Diana. Now, I really was quite surprised when I saw that, even though I'd worked on Princess Diana's chart many years ago. To know that she had the moon in Aquarius, where everybody said that she was always very emotional and she wore her heart on her sleeve, and she did because she was a Cancer. But to have the moon in that spot, now we can see how some of the times maybe some of the things that she did were pre-planned, or she got the reaction that she wanted in a very calculating sort of way. She got people to love her for who she was, the beautiful, caring, warm, nurturing mother that she was, and she mothered the world, but she also was able to keep her emotions in check. So I think that's really interesting. And then we wrap up the series of the moon in the natal chart with our dear little friends in Pisces. Now, everybody knows that I have a bit of a soft spot for anything Piscean, because it always gets such a bad press about being the dustbin or the final sign where we dump all the rubbish that we don't want from every other sign. Oh. I actually think they get the best of everything, because they get all the bits and pieces that somebody says, I don't want this or I don't like that, here, you can have it. So they actually are very, very intuitive. They have the power, I believe, of the previous 11 signs, and they bring it into their own energy and they make it their own. And there's not that many people with the moon in Pisces. I was in astrology for probably at least 10 years before I met somebody that physically had the moon in Pisces, and that was really quite an eye-opener to me, because I thought it's such a rare thing, and then all of a sudden everybody had moon in Pisces. But it's a positive energy. It's an energy where that they do want to make the world a better place. And some people say that the person that's got the moon in Pisces tends to see things through mystical sort of eyes. They don't necessarily see it through the eyes of the truth. Now, that's not exactly true. Yes, they can look at maybe 3 or 4 different versions of how the situation may play out and how the emotions will play on the stage of that, but they don't necessarily delude themselves, nor are they delusional. So please don't put those 2 words in the same sentence with the moon in Pisces. I usually find people with moon in Pisces, no matter whatever else is in their chart, they're very, very intuitive. They're one of the most in tune moons out of the 12. I mean, obviously the strongest one is the moon in Cancer, because it rules the sign of Cancer, but second in line would be moon in Pisces. So we've got, interestingly enough, the moon in Pisces, one of the greatest singers of all time, Elvis Presley. And, you know, how interesting, how passionate he was with the music that he wrote and the way his career took off. And, you know, people have often said there'll never be another Elvis Presley, and there may not be in our lifetime that we'll see in that way. And my female choice is Audrey Hepburn. And I don't know about you guys, but I was always been a very big fan of Audrey Hepburn. I always felt that she was ahead of her time. She seemed to be able to bring a mystical, magical element to her role, that you really believed you were there in the story with Audrey Hepburn. So that's very, very interesting. So that's just a little wrap up of how the moon actually affects us going through our zodiac signs. But tonight, for a special treat, I have to talk about a couple of little planets that are going to move into Capricorn very soon for our two co-hosts who are darling little Capricorns, and Terry Virginia, I know, is a Capricorn too. And Steve, you have teased me so much about Saturn being in Capricorn that I couldn't let this go on for much longer without teasing you and Vivian about when Saturn actually moves into Capricorn at the end of the year, and he will do his 2.5-year dance in Capricorn, that how different your lives are going to be as Saturn comes in and he waves his big stick and says, now you two are going to pay attention and you'll do as you're told, and there'll be some changes in your life, and we're going to become more practical and more logical, and we're going to grow up a little bit, and you're going to pay attention to the astrologer on the show that says to you, this is what you guys are going to do.
Or how we're going to get through it.
Oh, how you're going to get through it, yes. But interestingly enough, you've got a couple of years' grace.
School children after hearing that.
To the naughty corner.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll definitely both need your help, because we won't be able to help each other.
No, but you've got a couple of years' grace before Saturn actually conjuncts Pluto, and that's going to be the biggie, because when Saturn conjuncts Pluto, which won't be till 2020, which we've got a couple of years, but the way the years go by, you know, we'll blink and we'll be there. That'll be, I think, when we're going to see some really major world shake-ups. So fingers crossed it's going to be for the good. But I think with Saturn going into Capricorn at the end of the year, I think we're going to see some very interesting changes on the world stage politically.
Yeah,
and it might just be, fingers crossed, we finally see some people with some clout will get behind global warming and get behind making some changes to our planet.
Yeah. Well, Saturn ruling the law and getting things that aren't going well corrected, especially if things are out of balance or if they're not fair. So it would... Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot. And just going back to you talking about the moon signs, a personal friend of mine, Phil Gould, the football legend. Now, interestingly enough, for a tough guy, you know, the head of the league, he has moon in Pisces. But interestingly enough, his intuition has just got him through being able to choose some of the greatest players of all time. And just when you were talking about moon in Pisces, that wouldn't seem anything like his personality, being such a sort of a strong personality. But I think that's just some things that you were talking about, Pisces, really related to that particular person. He's an absolute football legend.
Yeah, well, with Philip Gould, see, what he'd be able to do is sort of almost run it through his mind like a videotape, pull the player out of, you know, out of cyberspace, put it into his mind and see how he thinks they're going to perform on the planet, you know, on the paddock, and whether they'd go all right in State of Origin or the World Series or whatever he's recruiting for. And he would have that skill to be able to do that on an intuition level and then say, yes, no, yes, yes, maybe, you know what I mean? And it'd just be very automatic. No one else would understand his method.
No, and that's exactly right. He used to spend hours and hours and hours just watching the players on the old VHS tapes, and he'd be able to choose from that. It's like you said, the videotape, just watching it over and over again and be able to choose those great players. So you're right about that moon in Pisces. And I've got, feel sorry for me or not, but my mum, my dad and my sister all have moon in Aquarius.
Yeah, well, that would make it interesting because they'd all tell you that they weren't emotional.
All the time, and then I'm too emotional.
Yeah, well, yeah, but, you know, that's only because that's the brave face that they're putting to the outside world. If we were to go into their inner world, it would be very different. They would have that churning going on in their tummy like other people do. They just don't share it.
Yes. I think I've spent many years navigating their emotions, and I've learned that they have them. It's just that they like to, you know, keep
Now,
things in
before
control.
you go, oh, that's been stuck down. So,
Oh, no, with a
I
bit
just
of
want
blue
to
tack.
highlight. No, that's
Gosh,
all right.
Steve.
There we go. Camera
Pulling
8.
apart our set.
I don't think I was supposed to do that. I was just given a visual clip around the ears. But this is your special box of tarot cards. And for anybody who'd like to make inquiries about that, you can look on our screen there, allaboutyouau@gmail.com. You can drop a line to us and say, I would like to purchase that for a Easter present.
And go on our website, and you
Or
can just
go
go
onto
to our store on the
All Chrissy
website.
Presents.
Yes.
And you can predict your own future. Let me tell you,
That is a fabulous...
if I can do it for Viv and myself, well, imagine what you can do at home.
Well,
So-
we need a set of that to help us through our Saturn-Pluto in 2020.
Yes.
No, what you guys are going to need is a lot of coffee and a good Skype connection, and we'll have a three-way conversation about Saturn moving into...
I think sounds like we need 2 years to prepare
Sounds
for
to
it.
me like it's going to drive us to drink, though. So
Amanda,
I don't think Saturn
Skype's
did
not
that.
going to be good enough. We're just going to need you here. I'm sorry, you're just going to have to move, and we're just going to need you here full time.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yes, your Sagittarian's going to get dragged through the dirt with us, Capricorn,
yes, and you
earthy
can cop
people.
it too with Pluto and Saturn. When that comes up to meet us, you'll be right in the middle with us here, my love. So, look, thanks for coming on the show
Thanks
again.
so much for helping us. And
It's great to hear you
Yeah,
again.
great to hear you
Thanks,
again.
Amanda.
Awesome as always. Yes, the amazing Amanda.
Hooroo, my love.
See you
Thank
next
you very
week,
much.
darling.
Bye, Amanda.
Bye.
Get your questions into us to have a reading with Amanda too. allaboutyouau@gmail.com, and there it is on the screen, and you can drop those questions into our inbox.
Does Amanda do charts as well
Yes, she
on the
does.
online store? On the online store?
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, she is a specialist in when she looks at your birth date. If you know the time of your birth date and where you were born, she looks at where your progressed moon is in, and it's about 2.5 years, I think, isn't it, when the progressed moon
2.5
moves on.
years, 2.5
You can
years.
feel it the day that it moves into the next sign. And sometimes when that progressed moon is sitting in Scorpio or it's sitting in Pisces, there's a slight predisposition to feeling a little bit lost. Now, we all go through that in our life at some point, and just realise it's a passing cycle. There's nothing that bad
Nothing lasts forever.
or that good lasts for long.
Everything's
Yeah.
And that's one of
cyclical.
those times to just sit.
Yeah.
You know, it's no action.
Like you were
just
saying with
sit.
intuition, if it doesn't feel right,
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because God, well, you do it and then you'll go, why didn't I listen? Like you say, it just pulls you.
It's
Sammy
also-
Bunting, welcome to our show again, my love.
Yay.
It's lovely having you with us, and we're wrapping up
you.
another
We'll
show
just
here.
have another show after
And-
this. Just this, the Sammy show.
Just again. No.
Yes.
Sammy, if people would like to contact you for a reading, they can do that too through our
Yes.
show.
And you also have some product on the website
Yes,
now
I do.
too. Tell
Now
us
I'm
about it.
back.
You've got some exciting new cards. The angel
I
cards.
do. I
Are they ready?
No, not this is an angel astrology. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
angel astrology chart. So it's interesting how astrology can go in lots of different directions. You know what I mean? It's just like, so this is angel astrology. So what this does, it tells you the cardinals or the different angels or their names. It gives you your own personal meditation from the angels. It gives you messages from them at the time of your birth. So that's really quite interesting. 22 pages. So that's going to be available in store. So you can either download it, I can email it to you, or you can buy it as is. And also my meditation CD, which is 47 minutes guided meditation. Now, Sammy doesn't like to do things by halves, as you know. So this is trance. This is a trance meditation. So many people were saying they couldn't meditate, so Spirit combined with myself, this is trance meditation, guided meditation, and it's helping a lot of people, so I'm very happy. So all good there. And I am now, my contract has actually been signed, and I am an official writer. And hopefully my deck should be available by June, July, but I'll keep you posted, but I'm very excited.
That's amazing.
Yay.
Congratulations, Sammy. I
thank
know
you.
how hard you've worked
Congratulations.
for all of
So
this.
it's awesome.
And you really have. You know, Sammy and I have known each other for a number of years now.
We have.
And you've just continually kept at it, and I'm so proud of you. Just want to
you.
say how proud I am of you.
Oh, bless you.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
And when that product is ready, we'll put that on Facebook so that you'll be able to see the promotion for it and lead you to the website so that you can purchase it.
And Sammy's publishers are?
Oh, I can't say
And-
it.
You don't want to say that?
No, I have to ask first.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We
There's
I'll ask
clauses in the
first.
contract.
Yeah, I have to check first. I'm allowed to say that it's done
Eric,
and
just
signed.
edit that bit out again.
I'll fill you in on that.
A little bit hard on live streaming TV, but
There's big scissors
don't
happening there.
you love
I
how
don't
Steve
wanna do
keeps
it if I'm
telling
not
Eric
allowed
to
to.
edit things out when we're live streaming? Eric, you are a magician.
We're calm beyond redemption here. So,
Until Pluto hits our Saturn.
And it's
Yeah,
water.
we're
And then that will
intrigue
really
anyway.
shove it right up our, proverbials.
I hope I'm not standing
have the
on
wide
platform
up.
5
have
at
the wide
Central
up.
when it happens. Pete, thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you
in.
so
Great to
much,
be
Pete.
here.
Now, coming up
see
on
you.
the show next week, we have on March 6th, so I believe, Mitchell Coombs. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much for correcting me. Kerry Irwin there, Sheila Visharaza and Terry Virginia is going to be on the show once again. And Amanda Hall will be talking about what's in the universe. And we're talking about planetary cycles. And Robert Hand comes to mind. He's the author of a brilliant book on astrology. We talk about how the moon pulls the tides in, pulls the tides out. But exactly what are the other planets doing in our lives? Heaps. Everything from career to your finances and relationships. So Amanda's going to be talking about planetary cycles next week.
And we also have a special guest on next week.
Yep.
We have Vanessa Bartlett. Now, she is a Pilates and fitness coach. So, Steve, you will be bringing along your yoga mat next week, I understand, and doing a demonstration for us because I did one with the Leg Master 2 weeks ago. So it's only fair's fair, seeing as that we're Capricorn bookends, don't you think?
Yes, and I've just been told I have to wear lycra for that.
Will they have that above camera? It's a camera with a visual
We're
shot.
going to get the overhead
overhead
camera
camera.
so that we can make sure we see
We'll see
the
Steve
full
from all
visuals
angles.
of the lycra.
I'm reminded when I was at one
That
point
Jimmy
an
Jip
apprentice
looking down
butcher
there.
and I used to load mince into intestinal things, we called them sausages, and it was not too
Okay,
savoury.
I think we better move right along
I
now.
don't think
and,
we should go there, so we'll cancel that segment for next week. And Mitchell will be on March 6th show. Mitchell, I just had a call
Hosted
from
by-
him. He said, I can't wait. So if you'd like to get those questions into us, all about you, au@gmail.com on the show. And Roxy will be joining us as well. Don't worry, Roxy, we've got a chair here for you. Zoe Sheridan's going to be on
Zoe
the show.
Sheridan,
that'll be
she's
great.
phenomenal.
Hold it together.
Zoe Sheridan is one of the hosts. She's been doing some breakfast for the guys that are the regular hosts on 96.9. She is phenomenally talented as an actress, a presenter, and she's also a very spiritual young lady. So
Yes.
quite a dynamo. She's a little pocket rocket, and we really look forward to having her on.
Oh, Zoe's on the phone. Hold on.
Now we also
You can't come. Oh, I'll call you after. Sorry.
just because of that lycra.
No, it is. She just said
I
it.
have a visual on it. It's bright purple.
It put her right off. We shouldn't have even mentioned it. Look, thanks, crew, everybody, for coming in.
Just don't
Wonderful
come in
to be
with,
here.
you know, a
I just wanna see
caftan
him in
or
his
anything,
lycra.
like no surprises, Steve. I love
Yes, and
I love
leave
to
the
get up.
sausages at home. It's like being at a party with Savaloys. They run, but they can't hide.
And this is all without any Sauvignon Blanc. We've only been drinking water.
totally.
Now, we've got an exciting expo coming up, and it's in Wollongong, 28th, 29th and 30th of April. We're going to be joined by you,
Yes.
Peter, you're
Yes.
coming to join us, and
Coming.
Sammy, and Sheila Vajrasa is coming along as well, and myself and Marg will be going down, and all of our wonderful psychics will be performing on stage. So it's going to be a great 3 days, so we want you to come along and be involved in it. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity for us to meet you as well.
What date's that?
The 28th, 29th and 30th of April.
Right.
Are you coming down with your
Yes,
outfits?
there'll be
Just
no
bring
excuse not to go.
Just
And-
bring
and
a
it's
few
a big-
possible to
it's a big
something a bit
festival
more
too.
Wollongong-ish.
I've just heard from Mark, and she just said, if you're not coming, you're sacked. So I guess I'll be there.
I reckon if you come next week and you like her, you'll be sacked anyway. So there you go. There goes my bookend.
Beautiful.
Any credibility's tied to a jet at this point, isn't it? See you next week, friends. Next
See you
Monday night
later.
from 7:30. Hooroo, Magoo. We'll see you then.
See you then,
Good
guys.
night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.